Psalm 23 isn't just a verse about the valley and the shadow of death. It's a real journey. And when King David wrote it as a shepherd, he was discussing his day job. We don't typically shepherd today. I don't know about you, but I don't know any shepherds. So we fail to recognize that verse. But let me walk you through when David wrote that verse on the valley of the shadow of death and everything that he was talking about, what exactly he was referencing so we can see it the way David saw it. All of these insights are coming from Dr. James Sedlicek, a New Testament and Old Testament professor who has his PhD in theological studies from Nazarene Theological College. Okay, starting off right at the beginning of Psalm 23, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. When David wrote this, what was he picturing? Well, the valley of the shadow of death was just a prelude to the journey that most shepherds are going to take with their sheep, that they knew that this was going to be pretty hard for them. It was going to be dark, it was going to be dangerous, it was going to be filled with predators like wolves and mountain lions, and these shadows that came from these steep canyon walls that they were walking in the valley of that was blocking all the sunlight. The next thing that David writes is, I will fear no evil. This is the guy who's fully responsible for the flock of sheep. He knows that there's dangers. He knows that there's robbers, mountain lions, wolves. We just talked about this. And yet he is going into this knowing that he will be the one that fights that off, and he will do so willfully and for the protection of the entire flock, because sheep can't protect themselves. Then he goes into, for you are with me. And typically we would think like, because God is walking alongside me. But I think it's also this element of these sheep do not feel safe unless their shepherd is nearby, unless their shepherd is walking near them and alongside them and leading them forward by being within distance of the flock. Then it says, your rod and your staff comfort me. It's comforting them. It's comforting. As a shepherd, you're saying that they have a rod as a weapon against any evil that comes into play to threaten this flock. And then you have a staff that comforts them because it's going to pull them away from any danger. If they fall off a ledge or they kind of get stuck in a crevice, that these are going to be comforting elements to the flock. Like he's using this rod and the safety not only to defend, but also protect and guide them while he's traveling with them. And so that's the end of the verse. And it basically implies like a destination that they end up at, that this is a destination of a highland pasture that eventually your shepherd is going to lead the flock to. That this flock had to trust their shepherd to get them to, despite all of the darkness, despite all of the predators, with just one rod and staff to protect them. And so he is imagining this entire journey that he goes through seasonally as he writes in reflection of God and how God is showing up for him. So if I was reading that verse as a first century Jew and I was a shepherd or my dad was a shepherd or my brother or my husband or whatever it was, I would have seen the journey that David's taking me through by talking about God as he talks about a job that I was very familiar with at that time.